Hey, and we're live.
Yay.
So yeah, welcome back to Canna-heads ND season. Oh, we're dropping the season thing. Episode 10. That's what it is. It's episode 10. Your once a week podcast for the latest in cannabis, local and national news. Every Sunday, ish, around 7:30 p.m. Typically we go for an hour to an hour and a half. Um, my name is Phil,
I'm Anthony.
and yeah, welcome back to the show, everybody. Um,
I didn't die of COVID.
huh? You
I didn't
survived
die of
COVID?
COVID. I
Yeah.
survived COVID.
We had a COVID scare. That's pretty much what happened last week. Uh, it was pretty much everything was there for it to be COVID, but it was not. So, yay. No COVID yet.
No
Yet.
COVID.
At this rate, though, like I would be more surprised I don't get COVID throughout whenever this whole thing is over. So yeah. Yeah, so welcome back to the show, everybody. Be sure to listen to KRFF Radio Free Fargo on 95.9 on Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. with Greg Wilson. The latest episode is up. It went up yesterday. No, it went up on Friday. Today is Sunday. I am really good with days like that. No, it went up on Friday. Yeah, so I believe it's next week or the week after that. It's going to be a really good episode, so definitely make sure to watch that one for sure. But make sure to watch all of them. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. I'll tell you to hit the like button like later on. We also
Hit the
have,
like button.
huh?
Do it. Click the button.
Hit the like button.
It costs you nothing.
Right, and it does actually help us a lot with our, with the SEO of the channel just in general. Likes equal interaction. If people interact with it, then it pushes it to more people. If nobody interacts with it, then it doesn't push it to more people.
Don't let us die, people. All right.
And actually, surprisingly, we've been doing a lot better over the last 2 months or so. Only because, like, and I'll kind of mention this throughout the show as well, but cannabis has been super heavy in the news ever since the topic of racism got brought up again in the news. It's been kind of going up with that, and then it's also been, the election. Talking about politics means you also get that politics spotlight too, so that's cool. We do have one of the stories that actually I'm going to get into here in a minute, about the North Dakota marijuana study, where they did a lot of work. They sat down and they, studied the No, they didn't. They didn't do shit. But you know what? It's still something to cover. And I got the copy of it, obviously, and I kind of broke it down a little bit. I shot a video, and this is actually a clip of it happening. But this is what happened. So here's what happened, and that's kind of also a reason why it's a little bit late, because the SD card apparently fell out too. When I hit record, it didn't record all of it. But and spoiler alert, I highly doubt this federally is going to be legalized, at least in the next
That doesn't get. I watched that like 5 times in a row when you sent that to me.
You can literally see, like, my eyes, just like me dying inside. But yeah, so that's the thing that happened. Luckily it's not gonna be in the video, obviously, but yeah. So yeah, so on that topic of this came out, one of the biggest things that I noticed about this, I mean, there's obviously not a lot of information that was released with this study. But this was pretty much as the biggest story, the biggest version of this story that was written. There's obviously the different people of, what is it, Inform Media or whatever the people who do Bismarck Tribune, they also sent it off to like San Francisco Times or something like that, and just different websites that do news talking about North Dakota. Um, because North Dakota now is in the news and not in good ways, but that's kind of what they're using. They're basically finding every single thing that they can talk about local politics to try to get clicks for their websites. But this came out on 2 weeks ago on Thursday, um, where Rep. Kim Kopelman said it speaks for itself, who chaired the committee and sat on the interim committee as well. And by speaks for itself, I mean, and quite literally, conclusion. The committee makes no recommendation with respect to the recreational marijuana study. It speaks for itself, guys. There's a lot of stuff where they kind of mention states and then not talk about them. They make a very, there's going to be more in the video, but they also make a uh, generalized statement that makes absolutely no sense. And if it did make sense, there would be a lot more problems in all the other states that have legalized. Where they say federal and state data suggest a loss of $10 to $15 for every $1 generated in tax revenue as a result of increased costs associated with public health, public safety, medical care, and other administrative costs. They don't go into detail about what that means. Um, I'm, I mean, the hearings were like a couple hours every day for, or every week. I mean, there wasn't too many people that showed up or anything like that, but if they're making that kind of a statement, this was, I'm guessing, uh, that was Department of Health, because that's in that paragraph. But that's another thing is they write paragraphs about testimonies, but they don't really state like who or what it came from. And they also say like they talk about Colorado a lot, but then they also lump in Washington and Oregon in it. So they say like Washington, Colorado, and Oregon have regulatory schemes or tax structures in place for marijuana sales. Uh, Colorado and Washington collect taxes similarly. They basically try to lump them together, and then they say Colorado's 2017 revenue reports indicated over $227 million was collected beginning in 2014. And that's all they talk about is Colorado. It's weird. There's a lot of weird things in this, and the study is linked in here. Is it? Yeah, here it is. So I will throw that in there if you guys want to read it. That's the study. That was the what came out of it. It's really weird. It's yeah. But in the story, Legalize ND, which sought to legalize marijuana through a statutory measure, gathered no signatures after March due to the pandemic. And to which I have to say, the saddest thing that happened today is a group lying to their supporters about a submission they knew was never going to happen. People drove hundreds of miles for nothing. It does damage to the cause like you wouldn't believe. That's what I have to say about that. When you make that kind of a statement saying you've gathered no signatures since March, I understand the pandemic and I understand that aspect. But uh, this is the reason why, first of all, the groups never got together. And second of all, this right here is the reason why uh, two-faced. That's all I have to say about it. Hate fucking one group that's trying to do the same exact fucking thing as you do, and then say this type of shit when you then walk that back when you have to say that you've gathered no signatures.
I firmly stand by my statement.
What?
These people need to get the fuck out of this. They need this
Yeah.
out. Just get out. Go find something else to do with your time, whatever. You have proven multiple times now that you are in no position to be working on something like this because this is supposed to be a community driven effort.
This
you
was a
know,
week
and all
ago.
you could do is sit there and fuck, yeah, and it's like all you could do is sit there and trash other people for trying to do something in a way they felt was better than how you did it.
Yeah, exactly. And this was a week ago. This is him basically saying, you know, I'm a and on several occasions, I didn't find the screenshot yet. But on several occasions, he said, you know, this is my pet project type of thing. I'm a political, uh, what's it called? A political, uh, I don't remember the name for it, but basically he's a political consultant. It's the word. It's right there. I don't know why I didn't see that. He's a consultant. And yeah, I mean he's won a bunch of candidates into office. Some of which he. The weird part is it's kind of like he doesn't really care what they stand for. He just wants to win. Um, So yeah, he's talking about how he got 40% on measure 3, like just him alone. It was just him. He got a couple other people in there. He's basically saying that, hey, this isn't my main thing. This isn't my main priority, and then also spouting this shit off. Like, basically, what I have to say is go fuck yourself. I don't know how to pleasantly put that for you, but like literally go fuck yourself. So
Sideways with a cactus. Seriously,
yeah,
you were just. Ugh. I get so irritated because it's like I was all about organization, structure, do this, do it right, put the community first.
yeah,
You know, what are they going to be more receptive to and whatever. And all I got out of this was this is what I believe, like out of his involvement was this is what I think everybody needs to fall in line with what I think, and if you're not going to fall in that exact line, you're dead weight to me.
yeah,
And it
pretty
wasn't
much.
even productive. Like I
Yeah,
remember spending lots and lots of time and money on something that from the beginning I was saying this is probably going to fail because you guys are thinking about your wants and needs instead of the community's wants and needs.
and that's also what Legalize MD's measure is it's apparently they sat down and they figured out what all the lawmakers they basically made their concessions before even cir- before even circulating it, which is a problem because not everybody believes in those concessions. Not the people who would support it really doesn't actually know every single aspect. It's 50 fucking pages long. It's yeah, it's got a lot of problems, but you know what? That's all I have to say about it. um, then they go on to say North Dakota passed medical marijuana in 2016, and the 2019 legislature significantly lowered penalties for marijuana crimes. So North Dakota has acted. Um, the penalties that were lowered, I'm 99.9% sure I remember this. If it's like your second offense or something like that, then it's like rehab type of a thing. It doesn't. It's a misdemeanor still, so it still shows up on a record. It doesn't. It's essentially they said that they did something about it when really they didn't. They go on to he goes on to say Kopelman. The question, I guess, is should it be all or nothing scenario? Should marijuana be completely legal for recreational purposes, or should it be minimized as an offense, which is what we did last time? And I'm sure the discussion won't end there. I'm pretty sure you knew that going into this whole entire minimizing the offense. It's still an offense, and states in just general have shown, and we're going to even talk even more about that, states just in general have shown that having no, wow, I keep peeking, I'm sorry, but having no offense, just in general, you don't get in trouble for it, actually helps people just in general. Sorry, I'm going to do this live. I'm, yeah, I'm there. Recomp is just crap today. So yeah, so they go into saying that basically, you know, we tried to help. We put a band-aid on the leaky pipe, and we're just hoping that everybody is okay with it still dripping and everything getting ruined because of it.
We're not.
Yeah. So, um, Owen then went on to say it feels like two different people wrote the report. Continuity between paragraph to paragraph, it seems pretty continuous. I'm not really sure how it's two different people. Maybe he's talking about like the huge difference between the actual statements that they make and the conclusion of the thing. Um, but it's not that two people wrote the report. It's more of they're stating things in the report that they don't back up with any sort of evidence. And if they were to, like, if you go to the other sections, like they're talking about like the next one right below it. I don't have the full report, but they say civil commitment. They talk about civil commitment. They have, chapters that they're stating. They have different law that they're citing. They are going into way more in depth on something like civil commitment and then just kind of sprinkling in a page. If you put the two together, it's about a page about recreational marijuana. And the thing that I also am now just even realizing, I don't know what the paragraph before it was, but shit, I can't really. You know what? Let's do this because I can get the report right here. So this is kind of what they're talking about here. So this is the recreational marijuana part. And then, like, in the civil commitment, like, they're talking about chapters in law. They're talking about actual case law. They're, like, these sections are, like, really in depth. They talk about, like, the different bill drafts of the bills. I mean, they don't really, like, do any of that here. It, to show that it would actually have been something that they actually cared about writing into there, they might as well have just put at least the century code regarding marijuana. Like, you might as well have just done some sources, but there are absolutely none. Like, quite literally, there are none. Um, so yeah, that's kind of a thing. They make like a statement of a 2015 drug survey or national survey on drug use and health. They don't really take into consideration that not everybody is just going to admit to just drug use in just general. I'm sure that there was, this is a no pressure thing. You're not going to get in trouble if you say yes or no. But some people, even you know, on a certain level, won't even admit to it in just general, just for their own personal, you know, denial of the benefits. But you still like, there's a lot of that type of thing going on. There's a lot of stuff here that's could be very well researched and gone into depth. And I'm sure COVID had something to do with it. But yeah, it would have been a lot better if they just kind of made the recommendation that they're going to study it further or something like that. The fact that there is no recommendation is good. Just in respect to it could have been negative. But I mean, it most certainly does not say, uh, that it speaks for itself. If by speaks for itself of we didn't really give a shit, I mean, the reason why they didn't give a shit was because at that point, at this point, when they released this 2 weeks ago, uh, it was already dead and it was very obvious. It was after the election, but even for 2022, they didn't really see it as a threat or as a possible, and I guess threat would be a wrong word, a possibility of it being a thing. Um, Jody Vetter wishes the committee had sought more testimony and more recent data. I fully 100% agree with that aspect. Like, there is absolutely, I mean, just looking at this, they're talking about, okay, under federal law, then they go into the Jeff Sessions and the Cole memorandum, or memorandum. They don't really say what his memorandum, Jeff Sessions was. They don't really say too much. Uh, they said a little bit about what the Cole memorandum did, but like no quotes of anything. And if you look at other aspects, uh, when they do go in to saying like look at how much shit that they've gone through. Here they're quoting like actual laws. Like they're going into way, way more in depth. And okay, let's look at this one. This one's aspect was the committee makes no recommendation with respect to the charitable gaming study. Okay, so if this was the same outcome, if it was like a, I don't think there's a chance. Here is a case law reference right here. There is where was it? This is them. Where was it? It was up here. Yeah. Uh, North Dakota Century Code. Uh, they go into way more depth. They really kind of, it's not a paragraph of just background like the recreational marijuana was. It's going into the charitable organizations, the different administration aspects, the enforcement aspects. When they go, they don't really say just, state action. Like, if we were just to use this as a template, this was kind of what most people were expecting out of it, and not whatever the hell this came out to be. This one right here. Um, and yeah, it didn't really say too much in the study, actually, and that's kind of what Jody said as well. That's very on point there with that. Like, it doesn't say much at all. So that's kind of that one, but there's going to be a video. I forgot when I was going to mention it. Okay, there's going to be a video coming tomorrow. I'm hoping to get that up by 5 p.m. It'll be a premiere, so it'll be like on all social medias and everything like that. I kind of started editing it, and then I was like, oh, I need to like find these clips now, since they're like half there, half not. Some of it's corrupted. It's not a big deal. It's not hard to fix, but yeah, it's just gonna take me a little bit to recover that. um, so yeah, that's my little rant on recreational marijuana. Another thing, these are just more housekeeping things now too. Another thing is YouTube just announced a new change to their terms of service, whatever. One of those things does affect us in that since this entire YouTube channel has been in existence, we uh, we have no plans for the monetization aspect of it either, because it's not possible under the actual topic that we're talking about. But they are planning on running ads on select videos, and kind of basically if we're not saying the word a lot, which we do, so it like doesn't really matter. But it will show ads. So if we actually had a video that like advertisers would want to be attached to, it will show ads. None of the money goes to us. All the money goes to Google, YouTube, and their entire thing. So that's that. So if you see ads, I'm sorry.
Right. It's not like they would want their content creators to grow or anything.
Yeah, well, they back in, oh God, it was like a year ago or something like that. They changed it so that you used to be able, if you had a YouTube channel and you got like, I think it was like 1,000 watch hours, and you had like 10 subscribers or something like that, something really low, like 100 maybe, you could go in for the YouTube Partner Program. Now, being in the YouTube Partner Program not only gets you the monetization, but it also does get you the SEO boost. So what we would be doing is, if we do hit that 1,000 user thresh mark and the 4,000 watch hours, which we hit the watch hours every time, it's the 1,000, is we would be able to demonetize our videos, but get the SEO boost as if it was monetized. And most of the videos that you see on YouTube are monetized. The ones that when you actually search for them are the ones that are unmonetized. So almost everything that you see will be running ads and will be getting the creator money. And when we're talking about money, we're literally talking 2 to 10 cents on a click and half of a penny, essentially, just depending on what your CPM is, but like half of a penny to 25 cents a view. Now, 25 cents a view is a very, very high number. And then we're also talking in clicks per million, or 1,000 is actually what it is, but I don't know why they call it a million. Either way, uh, you'll just see, long story short, you'll just see ads on certain videos. I highly doubt a lot of them. You'll see ads. Unfortunately, they're a thing. We cannot turn them off. We do not get any money from it. So hopefully you
Wish we
guys.
could.
Well, I do and I don't. I
No, I mean,
wish.
like, we wish we could turn them off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It'd be nice if we could do that.
There we can turn off the interest-based ads, but that is basically saying I do not want to be in the algorithm at all. And yeah, we like our standing in the algorithm, or I do at least. Yeah, like we've been doing a lot better. That's the good part. Like where it used to be like 5 to 6 views was like our like first 24 hours. The way that I track it is first hour and then after that 24 hours. So like I see what the notifications are. Like the first hour is how many people got notifications and clicked on them, and then the 24 hours is how is our search ranking going. Um, and we've also been tagging things a lot better. I used to just have a template and I just like use the same tags on everything. But now we have much better tags because I pay for a service now that does recommendations for tags based on the subtitles. Um, that's another thing that you'll probably notice coming up is subtitling, because we technically should be subtitling, but we haven't. We
So
just
is that like a thing that's like we're actually supposed to be doing that, or is that like just a highly recommended thing?
so the medium, since the Canna-Talk ND, since that's radio, you don't need subtitles because radio doesn't have subtitles. But the law, the FTC law, or it's actually FCC law, says all broadcast should include closed captioning, and that's what actually relates to us.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that closed captions do is, first of all, it automatically does when you upload a video, but those are shitty. Those are just long run-on sentences, no periods, nothing anywhere,
Yeah, it sucks.
and it takes the words out of the closed captioning to figuring out what your search terms are. So if you have, for instance, we talked about South Dakota like 2 weeks ago. So in the tags is South Dakota and Christy Noam, right? In the closed captioning, because we said the word South Dakota and Christy Noam, then it's a verified term that is actually then added into the algorithm. If I just wrote, you know, if I just wrote Justin Bieber on there and we don't mention Justin Bieber at all, then it's a muted word. So it actually affects you negatively.
It's kind of wild how all that works.
Yeah. YouTube algorithm is insane. It changes on like a month-to-month basis, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to figuring out. And it's not always me that figures it all out, because I definitely like I follow the algorithm a little bit and figure out like what works for other videos and stuff like that, and that's how I learn for us. But it it changes so often that some people find bugs and everything like that, and in some cases there are exploits that you can throw in till they fix it to get the extra hit. But yeah, there's entire YouTube channels regarding search terms on YouTube. There's services, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in literally search terms on YouTube.
That's just insane to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, so yeah, let's get into the news, even though we kind of already got into it. Um, so Connecticut is they were having a hearing for the what was the name of the hearing for? Uh, this was during wow, CRSM, I think is what it was called, but basically it's a hearing regarding uh, retail establishments, essentially. They talk about people coming to their state and spending money at their stores. But they were they were talking with the new House Speaker, Mike Ritter or Matt Ritter, which will be during next session in 2021. Um, and they had a virtual meeting, uh, and it's they basically said that it's now legal in New Jersey, New York is coming, and it's legal in Massachusetts. Connecticut can't fortify its border, nor should it. I mean, they are talking about people, you know, visiting their state, so that would make sense that they don't want to just close down their borders for some reason. Um, he also goes on to state that he has a lot of neighbors and friends that go to work every day, who take care of their families. The incoming speaker then went on to say that they go to Northampton, they buy pot, they drive back, and they are still practicing responsible adults. You can't just pretend that it's not around you and readily available. Um, and I think we can glean a way of relating that to North Dakota in the fact of, well, we are surrounded by it too.
Yep, there's
So
no getting
like,
around it now.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying is there's no way around it. You can't just fortify North Dakota's borders. Although, I mean, at this point with COVID-19, we might just want to do that for a little bit, just to save everybody else. But no. So it's like legal, literally around us. So yeah, there are people, and I'm sure I don't know anybody, but there are people who will drive to like, well, when South Dakota finally gets their ass into gear, but they'll drive to another state, surrounding state, pick up, drive back. Um, I mean, you are technically crossing state lines. That's technically a federal law, so please don't do that. But
But it's
yeah,
like Colorado, you know?
yeah,
People were making entire treks to Colorado in order to pick up simply because it was readily available.
yeah. And then that's another thing is like it's putting so much risk on citizens in New York, in North Dakota, for instance, to be doing that just for something that's medicinal in North Dakota, even. Like, what's the point? The only point would be to charge them. I guess if you cross state lines, then you're technically it's a federal law, but they don't normally do that. It would just be a state possession law.
Well, and
Um,
as you just said, that's what it boils down to. Is ultimately, if we're surrounded by legal states, all you're saying to your people is that we want to convict you, we want to arrest you, convict you, and disrupt your life over something not even comparable to alcohol,
yeah,
which we let flow freely.
yeah.
It's an insult. It really is an insult
I,
to the citizens.
I forget what year it was, but North Dakota one year was voted the most alcoholic state or something like that.
The drunkest state. I
Yeah,
remember that.
the drunkest state. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife saw that and she's like, "So this isn't embarrassing at all for us."
Let me just put it this way: a state that literally had a campaign for trying people to visit South Dakota made a campaign that said meth, we're on it,
Yep.
and they legalized before we did.
Let that sink in, people. The meth state.
Yeah, the meth state quite literally legalized before the alcohol state. um, So yeah, he goes on to say he put the chances of state lawmakers passing a legalization bill during next legislative session at 50-50, and that the body should hold a vote on the issue regardless of whether it has enough support to pass. Um, I think that's more of just figuring out like where can we start. Let's like try to like get at least a foot in the door, and then after that we can figure out like what needs to change for more people to support it. And in the past, he's also said that legalization is inevitable. There's really, no reason against it. Um, there was this hearing that he was in. Um, by the way, let me just warn everybody. Uh, People who work from home and don't do like video stuff and everything like that, they don't know what peaking is. I mean, I peak all the time, but as far as my audio, but like their audio is clipped as fuck. It's almost as if they are screaming at the mic that's literally an inch away from them. So just warning you that the audio is shitty. I am going to try to make sure it's stable throughout the entire thing, but um, yeah, it's also usually I will download it, I'll throw it into Premiere, and I'll kind of fix it up a little bit. But this was on Vimeo. This meeting was on Vimeo. There was another clip that I was going to use that was on Amazon Web Services. So it's not super easy to download from these sites because they don't really let you download from it, nor does YouTube, but that's super easy to get around. Vimeo's is ass. I don't know how else to explain it. So, yeah.
You're on the sync tube, right?
Yep.
Sync tube. Room not found.
Room not found. Oh. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah, my Firefox crashed right like 10 minutes before. That's the new link.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I don't know. Add it to we'll get to it. Yeah, just keep it up that way I don't have to change the link. That's all the way down there. So, yeah. Here is this one. If you'll let me do that. Can you? Can you let me play that? Okay. We'll go to this one. What? Why isn't it not?
That was weird. My audio is being stupid now.
Oh my gosh. Alright. Well, fuck. Copy link. Okay. So can we
Control
go?
F5, Phil. Control F5.
Okay, go on to the next clip. You were supposed to do this. Why are you not doing this? Okay. So, next? Why? Why are you not letting me go on? Okay. Shit. If it would let me fucking click. Okay. 1 second.
You're good, dude.
It's on my channel, so I just have to go into, not my library, my videos. Click on this video. Scroll back up. Go to that one. Alright. Skip video. There we go. Here we go. Oh. Oh, you're muted, that's why. Why is it so quiet?
I was gonna say I don't hear anything.
I have a 5 gain on it.
Versus time, Senator.
It's on my speakers. I set it in my headset.
Papers of committee committee assignments my members want, and I got 15 new people and trying to get to know them and what their views are. To me, marijuana has nothing to do with revenue. I could care less. Every year that goes by, it brings in less revenue for the state. I don't care if it brings in $1 or $30 million. It's completely irrelevant to me. Here's what's relevant to me: two things. It is now legal in New Jersey. New York is coming, and it's legal in Massachusetts. Connecticut cannot fortify its border. We've also decriminalized the possession of marijuana under a certain amount. I have a lot of neighbors and friends that I think highly of, who go to work every day, who take care of their families. They go to Northampton, they buy pot, and they drive back, and they are still practicing responsible adults. You can't just pretend that it's not all around you and readily available. The second reason why I would vote for legalization, I think this year could be the year, nothing to do with revenue. I could care less about the revenue side. Is for too long, black and brown people in cities back in the 80s and 90s went to jail for marijuana offenses, and people in the suburban towns, and I've had both ends of my life. I'm born and raised in Hartford, and I went to Colby College. I've seen both folks smoke marijuana with impunity. There was no crimes. It was turned the other way. The expungement of those criminal violations is very, very important to me to right historical wrongs. Those are the two reasons I'm voting for legalization, and I think it's got a 50-50 chance of passing this year. And I think it should have a vote regardless.
Senator Kelly, what do you think your caucus thinks on that issue?
Well, we haven't had an opportunity to actually sit down and talk.
Okay, let's also put this one into perspective. This is literally the right sides. Left down here, right over here.
That issue, but I do think that even if we were, you're still going to have a lot of individuals look at this from different perspectives. I really don't think this is a Republican Democrat necessarily view.
He's literally talking about it being that.
Visualize the net, and it will depend upon where one's perspective is and where they come in on the equation. A lot of what Speaker-elect Ritter pointed to with regards to the decriminalization and dealing with people who have had problems and issues with this in their past, I think was the reason why the state looked at it from that perspective. Also, why the state enacted medicinal marijuana was that there are some beneficial qualities, but there still are a lot of negative issues. As much as we can say, or I hear the majority say it's not about the money, a lot of the reasons why states adopt this is because of the money, is to get more revenue. And just because other states do it doesn't necessarily mean that Connecticut must do it. I think we have to look at what our own people, what our own families.
So he's basically saying that, a lot of states are just doing it for money, which, I mean, yeah, one of the biggest positives of recreational and medical just in general is the tax incentives behind it. But he's also talking about how people have had a problem with it, where if you are saying that, but you're also allowing medicinal, I mean, it's the same thing with opiates, for instance. Like, you got a lot of people with problems with it, but it's still legal. So, people doctor shop. So, like, if you're talking about that type of an aspect that people have problems with it, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, it actually helps and solves a lot of problems versus actually create them. The aspect that people use it as an alternative pain medicine, antidepressant. Basically, it's got so many different alternative to pharmaceuticals that it's actually more helpful and healthier to people. So I'm not really sure where he's getting the whole people have problems with it. And then also he's talking about how people have gotten charged with it, and how some people have problems that they've gotten charged with it before and then they can just get it expunged. Um, if you look at it as an aspect of, it's not that people get it expunged, it's that admitting a mistake. And multiple times in the past, several lawmakers have said this. And also, let's just talk about the fact that he's using the Trumpism of so many people tell me, I've heard this type of a deal, but that if you've been charged with something and that it's found to be a mistake, and several lawmakers have said the war on drugs and this whole entire aspect of keeping cannabis Schedule 1, it was a mistake. And I'm pretty sure that there's at least one person in the legislature in Connecticut that have said this exact thing too. It's not that people are just going to get away with it type of a thing. It's the fact of you're righting a mistake, righting a wrong that was put on somebody, specifically people who A, vote for you if you have the ability to, if you get a felony or something there, and B, that you're bettering people's quality of life by not having them check the goddamn box of, I've been convicted of a crime in the past, which is a box that everybody needs to check if they have, like if you have a felony or anything but a traffic ticket, essentially. Checking that box essentially says I'm not going to get a call back in most cases. So, yeah. But you're forcing people to do that. So you're basically making it so that people who did get penalized for something so minimal, on top of that, are just going to also have to admit to it. And that if you basically have legalized it and you have no expungement aspect to it, you've basically said, fuck everybody, but from here on out, we were right. Or we're right now.
Mm-hmm.
We were wrong in the past, but we're right now. Yeah.
Want and what we hear from our constituents, and decide whether or not this is something that, as a social policy, is good for our state and the youth of our state. And is it something that we want them to be engaging in and to be utilizing on a daily basis, or more frequently than they're allowed to now?
Than they're allowed to now. I mean, under your situation, your implementation here, you wouldn't allow them at all.
Perfect. Gentlemen, this time flew by. I wish we had some more.
Yeah, so that was basically that aspect. I'm gonna jump one story forward because I've been mentioning this a lot, and I feel like this is time for that part, and then we'll go back to Rhode Island. So in the regards of teens and adolescents using cannabis, it's also come out that teen marijuana treatment admissions fell sharply in states that have legalized. This is in a federal report. States that have legalized marijuana for recreational use have seen sharp declines in youth treatment admission rates for the drug. So essentially, I mean, it does make sense because, there are, like, alcohol is legal, right? But there are people who end up having to go to treatment. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not a problem to some people. Cannabis, not so much, because it doesn't really destroy your life in that aspect. But they have said that shows that teen admission rates for cannabis misuse fell nationwide by nearly half from 2008 to 2017. Medical cannabis laws, meanwhile, appear to have no connection to teen treatment rates, which is a peer-reviewed research published by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So this isn't just like some crackpot theory here. It's a peer-reviewed study, and it was released by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They also have this neat little map that basically shows different states and the admission rates, the mean average of the admission rates. You can see that basically there's high loss up here, and the more orange or the lighter the color, the less, essentially. No gain in North Dakota. The only state. There was also the aspect that, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, they don't really have like missing admissions data. So Wisconsin, Shit. I do not know this off top. Yeah, I don't know all the states off the top of my head. I know this is Wisconsin. Georgia. No. Yeah, that's Georgia, right?
Which one?
This one right here. That's Georgia, right?
South Carolina, I believe.
No, this is South Carolina. Right below
Are you
it.
sure?
Yeah, here's your North Carolina and South Carolina, because I know the line. How it's like literally just one state
Yeah,
almost that's been.
Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
Piss me off.
Well, no, they have it in the study, so I'll just use that. Wow, I feel stupid.
Me too, dude.
Oregon
I
and
feel
Washington State. Oh no, that's Oregon and Washington. Yeah. Oh, Wisconsin, Indiana, and yeah, South Carolina. Never mind, you were right. What?
Yeah, South Carolina.
I thought it was like there was like almost like one state that literally just has a line through it, and that's
Oh,
north and
that
south.
top one right there? That was Virginia, right there.
Oh. Oh. What? Oh, I
I'm
guess
just
that
saying.
makes sense. Yeah.
Well, you got
Okay.
me fucked up over here. I was like, what?
I'm sorry, I suck. I, man, when was the last time I actually had to like recite all the states? The internet is really ruining like my education. That's all I have to
Right?
say
If
about that.
anything you need to know, you just Google it.
Yeah. And it's not like you're sitting in front of a map that doesn't have like the states in front of it or like a drop down box of all the states. So like around the area of the state, so you're like, oh, well, it's this one. Anyway, nationwide, the average annual admissions rate fell over the study, declining over the study period by nearly half from 60 admissions per 10,000 to 31 in 2017 per 10,000. And that's according to the CDC. This research suggests that a precipitous national decline in adolescent treatment admissions, particularly in states legalizing recreational marijuana use, occurring simultaneously with a period of increased permissiveness, decreasing perception of harm, and increasing adult use. So it's basically saying this. If you shame people, like throw them in jail, or you put them into court-ordered rehab, there's going to be more of that happening. And then once you get rid of that type of a thing, then people aren't going to, be going in because it's not really a problem. um, and also the fact that you're making it more openly available would allow for adult use to increase in the aspect of some people, will say, fuck my Vicodin addiction, I'm going to go to something way healthier for my pain. So you have also it affecting other drug, so polydrug positivity there. So earlier studies looking at teen use rates after legalization have found similar declines or a lack of evidence in an increase. So even in like almost all the states, there's been low gain, but also it's been going down. So essentially, less people are having to go to treatment for marijuana. Long story short. Last year, for example, a study looked at Washington State and determined that declines in youth cannabis consumption could be explained by replacing the illicit market with regulations or the loss of novelty appeal among youths, which is a really weird aspect, but I suppose if it's legal, you're not edgy by smoking, so it's not cool. I don't know. Youths are weird. Like I didn't really have a rebellious phase or anything. Like I wasn't like super rebellious, but like I guess it doesn't have the charm of being a stoner in high school. I was a stoner in high school though. I don't know.
I was too.
Yeah, I was totally like, yeah, that was pretty much me. um, so yeah, in regards to what he was saying, that there are people who would see a problem in legalizing, well, there is a lot more positivity than negative out of it. Rhode Island lawmakers also are working for legalization in a very, very weird way. The governor's recommendation was offered in her annual budget, would keep the legal cannabis industry under government control with state-run shops and a ban on home cultivation. So I guess you get one good thing and subtract the whole aspect of it creating an industry? I suppose that's what their idea is. So if it was a state-run shop, you wouldn't have essentially the equality that comes with having it basically growers and everybody down the chain. It would be state-run, so you wouldn't really have the ability to have craft, or not craft, but like people who actually know what the fuck they're doing and or are creative enough to, make different strains and everything like that. Nope, it's just going to be a state-run shop, one strain, that's all you get type of a thing. And no home cultivation. And I mean, I guess Rhode Island is small, but like if we were to apply it to, anything in the Midwest, that means you'll have people driving 50 some miles to pick up, which is a problem. Essentially, if it's for medical use, it's going to be a lot of effort for some people. Senator Ryan Pearson says, I certainly do think will act on the issue, whether it's more private or more state. He went on to say, I'm optimistic to take this up early in the next season. Everybody is optimistic about picking it up in the next season. So we're going to see a lot of cannabis stuff in the news, next year, more than likely. And then incoming House Speaker, Joseph Shernkrantz, I don't know how to say your name, dude, said he's absolutely open to the idea of cannabis legalization, and the House is very close to having majority support for the policy change. Again, I think it's kind of the same thing of what they were talking about in Connecticut. Let's just have a vote. Let's just try to figure out who's on what side. Under the proposal, adults 21 or older would be able to purchase up to an ounce at a time and possess up to 5 ounces total. Okay. Unlike nearly every other legal cannabis state, home cultivation would be prohibited. I'm not 100% sure if it's every state being prohibited home cultivation, but what is it switching to? Why is okay? Whatever. Raimondo's budget proposal argues Rhode Island running the industry will allow the state to control distribution, prevent youth consumption, and protect public health. Also estimated the model would bring in millions in state revenue, 21.8 million in 2020, 21.1 million in 2021, and 39.6 million in 2022. Yes, it would bring a lot of money if you are running your own shop. Yes, that is very accurate. They're also saying that the revenue is projected to grow at 3% annually each year after that. In the aspect of they're probably planning on raising the prices of their products by about 3% each year until they reach that max there. But $21.8 million in 2020 regarding, I mean, you're going to be talking about it in next legislation there, but 2021, they're planning on making $21.1 million, which makes sense, but also it's state-run shops. So yes, you are going to be making hand over fist. But you'll also be hurting an industry that could be created in your state, which could definitely make you a lot more money in tax revenue regarding that. You could probably make more than the 3% growth if you create an industry regarding cannabis sales.
See, now this is where I lose some people, because it sounds selfish. It really does. But like when we talk about cannabis, a lot of people are focused on like the medical aspect of it, and really, it's so hard for me to talk about cannabis legalization because I'm sitting here thinking like it's not just the medical that I'm looking at. Like I'm looking at the well-being of the state as a whole.
Right. Yeah.
Just from cannabis legalization is mind-numbing to even consider ignoring.
Oh yeah.
You know, and when you have half the country making, you know, as you said, hand over a fist, just in tax revenue, not to mention the job opportunities, the business opportunities, what have you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about.
So it's like, even if you take medical out of the equation completely, the fact that something as harmless as cannabis is, in comparison to everything else that we can have access to, it just numbs my brain trying to think about the logic behind this.
Right. Yeah, like, I don't know about, like, okay, if it gets their foot in the door of legalizing, and just you start off with state-run shops, and then you realize, or you get enough people interested in making their own, then maybe you go from there. I just don't understand the state-run part. Because it's not all about the actual sales to people, it's also the industry as a whole. Like, I don't know, Rhode Island's like weather situation, but like growers and stuff like that, that's a lot of tax revenue right there. The sale of the crop once you've grown it, the sales tax of purchasing everything for the grow, the different products that you could create with it if there's like a edibles situation in there, that, you know, creating that and selling it as a food item, there's more tax revenue. There's so many different things for tax revenue there that I don't know why you'd corner yourself to just running your own stores. And that maybe you support like the growing with state-run grow ops, I suppose, and then you sell like, or you can get um like you can do licensing and you get people to grow, and then you seize. I'm not sure how they would even try to do that, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't see. Let's just pull a random ass name out of here. I don't see Ryan Peterson sitting there growing. Is what I'm trying to say, and I also don't see Ryan Peterson. You know, again, I'm just saying as far as government wise, I don't see a government entity hiring people for them to work for the state government to sell something and then also have to pay payroll taxes on that. I just, it's backwards to me, I guess. I don't know. That's just weird to me. But there was a clip. This one went way over my head. Let's look at the chart. What happened here? There we go. She brought an entire fucking presentation. There was a PowerPoint and everything here. But this is just kind of the breakdown of how they were talking about licenses. Let's look at this one. Maybe this could answer my question. Why won't you let me select you? Copy image location.
You were having all sorts of fun tonight technologically.
I'm so confused. What?
I said you're having all sorts of
No,
fun.
I know.
Oh, the thing.
This is weird. Okay. Again, these, like, the way that they do this is just confusing me. Read budget documents. Okay, let's look at your scribed. Yeah, so this is them talking about, yeah, legal with commercial sale, Massachusetts and Maine. Legal implementing commercial industry. This is literally everybody around them poised to legalize. This is kind of the retail licenses, as far as the way that they're seeing the applications coming in. I mean, she really did a really good job with the just being able to drill down on all the numbers, which I'm sure that's kind of like, her job. Like, she did her job, is what I'm saying. But I guess let's see, what are the... Oh man, do I have to download the thing? Oh, okay. Okay, sure. Open it in Firefox. There we go. So here's where they say, as far as the licenses. So cultivators would have to pay a $5,000 fee. Processors would be a $5,000 fee. Contractors a $10,000 for operation of retail stores. Okay, so contractors would be like the ones that rent out the building, I guess. Operations employees to work with any marijuana licensee, 150. So if you are a cultivator, you've paid your $5,000 fee, you also have to pay a 150 per employee fee. And then key employees, again, what breaks it between operations employees and key employees? I'm guessing the owner also has to pay $300 to be able to do business. It's just a really weird way, but you know what? If that gets their foot in the door. Yeah.
Like that age-old thing of if it sounds dumb but it works, it ain't dumb.
Yeah. Would not permit the following activities: possession of marijuana plants without a cultivator license or medical marijuana plant tags, exceeding the statutory possession limit, possession on prison or school grounds. Oh shit. Distribution, transfer, sale to minors under 21. And then this is where they're talking about their medical marijuana system, and I don't understand why you don't just transition that to your recreational marijuana like almost every other state's done. But you know what? That's yeah. Like you were saying, if it works, it ain't dumb.
Yep. You do you, boo.
Right? Pretty much. So this one is about the, well, I guess depending on who you ask, but the president-elect in my book. Yeah. Marijuana reform. So if you go on his Biden-Harris transition website, this is the front. This is not the front page. This is the racial equity part of it. In his campaign trail, like when he was talking in town halls and in debates, even he was talking about cannabis decriminalization and expungement. It was part of his racial justice agenda. He released a updated form of it on his website, this one. Many of the proposals are broadly described, but it's super... This used to have something to do with cannabis in it. It does not. The page says Biden is working to strengthen America's commitment to justice and reform our criminal justice system, lays out other specific processes that were often mentioned in his campaign trail, and one of those things was marijuana reform, and also talking about a ban on police chokeholds, a national oversight commission, track law enforcement abusers, but right now, if you look, let's do a scientific analysis here. Cannabis. Nope. Okay. Marijuana. Nope. So yeah, it's they did or Marijuana Moment, by the way. Huge shout out to Marijuana Moment. I think I say that every time, but They reached out to a Biden campaign spokesman, and when he went on to saying nothing has changed, and adding that other priorities of the incoming administration, such as LGBT rights, were also not specifically featured on the Build Back Better transition site. That is such a weird Build Back Better.
Yeah.
That almost a tongue twister there. But yeah, so I mean, you can look at it this way. So you got offering second chances. So I guess that would be like a Second Chance Act. Um, it could possibly preventing crime and providing opportunities for all. Um, see what else could it be? Maybe this one, and support second chances for economic success. This would be like cultivator slash business owner. Um, yeah, it can fall under a lot of different aspects here, but there was also talk of this in the past of it kind of disappearing off of his normal stump speech that he would do. Decriminalization expungements. Biden favors medical cannabis legalization and rescheduling marijuana under federal law and letting states set their own policies without federal intervention. Doesn't really change too much, but it could possibly change naysayers' minds of like, well, it's federally decriminalized, so I feel like our state isn't like trying to be different. Harris is also a sponsor of the MORE Act. I think she was the. Let's see. I think she was a co-sponsor of it. Either way, and that would legalize marijuana on the federal level and implement a series of social justice policies. MORE Act being the Marijuana Opportunities Reinvestment and Expungements Act. And this is kind of where it gets a little bit weird. So, Senator Harris then went on to saying, or her, not Senator Harris, but her press person. Our hope is, as Vice President, Senator Harris will continue to champagne the MORE Act as she did in the Senate as our bill's lead sponsor. This bill would deschedule marijuana at the federal level and provide a path of resentencing and expungement for marijuana convictions, in addition to other social justice components. But Harris has indicated that she wouldn't be proactively pushing Biden to adapt a pro-legalization stance. She did say last month that she has a deal with Biden to candidly share her perspective on a range of progressive policies he currently opposes. However, that does include also legalizing cannabis. Essentially, politicians do what politicians do and say we're going to do one thing and completely not do it. But not surprised. But at the same
I was gonna
time,
say you gotta be pretty numb upstairs to believe that you were gonna get anything out of it.
yeah.
It's you said politics. They're gonna
But
tell you whatever they want to get into a position of power.
yeah, essentially. But I mean, at the end of the day, if it does get rescheduled or descheduled, quite honestly, I don't think it's going to get descheduled. I think it's going to be met in the middle of rescheduling it to Schedule 2 or Schedule 3 for it having a medicinal value. So it would make states easier to legalize medicinally. I don't think we're going to see from completely Schedule 1 to completely recreational descheduled completely. I think we're going to have a middle jump there, and we're going to wait a little bit there, and possibly at, 4 to 8 years later, then it would be descheduled. But I would not see it happening of it just going from Schedule 1 to nothing. But I do see that it could go to medicinal, and then from the medicinal, something like the MORE Act and stuff like that, make it a little bit more societally acceptable. and then it would be descheduled. So
See, what I would expect to see personally is there's going to be a push for descheduling before anything, where like whoever's in charge in the White House, they're going to leave it mainly to the states to decide what they want to do.
yeah,
But on a federal level, they're going to push more for the descheduling or rescheduling of cannabis, and then states will run with it from there. But
yeah.
I see descheduling to be one of the first things to happen.
Really?
Federally, that's what I would think is at least rescheduling.
Yeah.
I don't, as you said, I don't think it's going to go, straight unscheduled. But I think that'll get messed with before anything at a federal level.
Let's see. 'Cause I know that like I only know like the top one and the second one, or maybe it's the third one that I know. Okay, so schedules. So high potential for abuse, no accepted medical value. Drug is not safe to use even under medical supervision. This is where it stands right now, right? Schedule 2 would be high potential for abuse, sometimes allowed only with severe restrictions. So this is something like opiates and benzodiazepines. Maybe it was 3. Either way, like if we look at this is a list of Schedule 1 drugs. This is really odd that it's in the same spot as GHB, DMT, ibogaine, LSD, MDMA. I mean, it's weird that it's there. Schedule 2, yes, so your opiates are Schedule 2. So Schedule 3 would be medium potential for abuse. There is accepted medical abuse, and abusing the drug can cause severe mental addiction or moderate physical addiction. That kind of sounds like it could possibly fit under that one. So we might see a Schedule 3. But, like, it could also fit under 4 and 5. And if we look at Schedule 2, I mean, this is not kind of where it belongs either. But as far as Schedule 3, let's see what else. I mean, Schedule 3 is ketamine in there, but ketamine actually has a medical use, I think. Is it still used in surgery?
I don't believe so.
I know it's used with cats.
Yeah, veterinarily they use it a lot.
Yeah. But buprenorphine is in there, which is weird. Because this is literally an opiate. It's semi-synthetic, but it's literally an opiate, so why not up here? And that's also another weird thing. When we talk about buprenorphine is Suboxone. Abusing the drug, or Schedule 3, abusing the drug can cause severe mental addiction and moderate physical addiction. It can cause severe physical and mental addiction. It causes severe ones that last months. Like if you look at like, maybe it's on here, methadone. Yeah, methadone should be in the same spot because methadone and Suboxone are really pretty much the same thing. Douglas went on to say, well, I'm hoping Schedule 3, not sure exactly when they're going to do it, but I think they're going to do it hopefully within the first year. I would be shocked if it doesn't go to Congress floor. I don't think it would go. I think there would be, if it was looked at as a Schedule 2, Biden would say, I would veto. If you can get it to Schedule 3, then I will go for it. I think that's kind of what we're going to see. If it goes to a 3, it makes it really easy for the states to legalize from there. Yes, that's exactly why I think that we're not going to see complete descheduling it. Especially if Biden's view is to essentially make it so that if we can deschedule it or reschedule it, then other states will have an easier access to getting to it. I don't think we're going to see descheduling it because that's his view is other states have to do this. All the states have to do this. We're not going to say anything about it. We're going to kind of go with we're going to do we're going to help you guys, but we're not going to like force you guys. Which would make sense. I mean, you've got a couple states that their entire state is kind of super against it. South Carolina, for instance. But that's Lindsey Graham. It's weird because it has everything to do with their like basically the entire legislative system there is kind of what gives everybody the view of cannabis. But I think a lot of people are realizing that just because there are stances against it, especially with cannabis, just because there's stances against it, there's always a second side to the story. And I think that's what's kind of causing people to even get even more involved in politics on top of that. That people will be like, well, you know, the campaign leaflet said that marijuana is bad. I know marijuana is good. Well, what other things, what other leaflets did I get that like are kind of pushing me one way when I believe something completely different? Because I think a lot of people, when they are put in front of a issue that they don't understand a lot about, they go to whatever they remember the closest. So if they were told marijuana bad, then they will go with that if they know nothing about marijuana. But if they are pushed to marijuana good, I think they would actually get involved and support it. But yeah, so I think we're going to see it go to Schedule 3. Just because it doesn't really belong in Schedule 2. The thing that really, to me, is what breaks between Schedule 2 and Schedule 3 is the moderate physical addiction aspect of it. It's not really a moderate physical addiction. If anything, it would be mild. But the severe mental addiction aspect of it, I don't think there's a severe one, but I think there is a mental addiction aspect to it. But I think it's a positive. Like, people are severely mentally addicted to exercise, to work. Is it bad for them in certain aspects, but not in all? And I think that's kind of the distinction there. Like, you can, well, there's literally people who pretty much run themselves to death or to dehydration aspect of it. And then there's people who literally, they're married to their job. They wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and they don't leave till, or they're the last person to leave type of thing. That can affect your life negatively too, but it also can positively affect you in money. But I think that's the severe mental addiction. It really would be nice if they kind of reworded that a little bit. But I think there's a low potential for abuse. Or actually, I'd say moderate. I don't know. What do you think?
What, cannabis?
Yeah. As far as, okay, let's talk about the two different aspects.
Okay.
Potential for abuse.
What do you mean by abuse? Because if we're talking about recreational, then it's not really
Yes.
use. It's or like for recreationally, I don't consider it abuse, I guess.
I suppose.
So it's the potential for use, really.
Potential for reuse. How about this? They smoked, they liked it. Potential for... When we talk about abuse, we mean like literally that's your only happiness in life, I suppose, would be a way I would explain it.
Honestly, I don't know very many people other than those who find a medical use for it that like they smoke it and they like it and they're like, I definitely want to do this again or continue regular use. Most of the time it's just like, yeah, I enjoyed that, you know, and like if given the opportunity, I would do it again.
Yeah.
So I don't think it has a very high potential for abuse in that sense.
Okay.
Most of the time when you have people who are looking for continuous use or whatever, they find that it helps them with a medical need like anxiety or depression or pain or whatever.
Yeah. So that would basically put it at like lowest.
Yeah, I
It's
would
like
consider it a low potential.
I think Tylenol is like okay. So when we talk about Schedule 5, yeah, the V is 5. Oh, look at this. Cannabidol, derived pharmaceutical. By the way, that's a really bad form of it. Just saying. But I mean, you got dipahydramine, you got Lyrica. This right here, Lyrica, and all of these things. This certainly does not have lead to mild mental and physical addiction and no potential for abuse. It makes you feel drunk. If anything, it would be up one. And the physical addiction aspect of it can be very, very dangerous. But, yeah, okay. So I would say, for potential abuse, we can say lowest. Right? We can agree on
Yeah.
that. Okay. There's obviously an accepted medical use. We're not even going to decide to fight that
Yeah.
one. As far as addiction, would you say it's mild or moderate?
Again, that's it. Always breaks down to a form of discussion when it comes to cannabis, because it's like you can. Sorry, hold on, my cat clawing my leg. Well, get up here, come on. Okay. Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry. Like right when you asked that, I started feeling a claw going into my thigh. I was trying not to.
Okay, so as far as potential for addiction. So when we talk about addiction, basically the way I would decide to define it as not that it would be your only, well, I guess your only
Like a
choice for happiness.
must-have.
Yeah, like a must-have.
I I would still say low. And again, like I know it sounds like I'm being biased because I'm pro cannabis,
Well, yeah.
but it's like when you talk about it, like especially when you talk to people, like I have family that I talk to here that it's like they want to know more about it. They're like curious, they want to try it, whatever. I don't see like in those who do use it around me, I don't see a real addiction to it.
Yeah.
I don't see that. Like there's very few that had a slight psychological addiction to it.
That's what I was talking about. Not mental, there's no mental, but psychological, I would say
Mhm.
there is. Like, I'm
So I would
for,
say low. Overall,
yeah,
I would say low.
yeah. So then it should just be this one then. Doug goes, potential for abuse would be in perception of what you're doing because if you think about it, how do you really abuse it if it's just like caffeine and you can overdo it on caffeine? Yeah, like caffeine really actually does speak to me. Honestly, I can't function without 300 milligrams of caffeine a day. Um, actually, why don't we do that? Okay. Which is safer? In just the potential for abuse and addiction aspect. We're not going to talk about the like heart
Cannabis.
attack. Huh? Yeah.
Cannabis by far.
Cannabis 100%. Yeah.
Because yeah, obviously there's
You get
the
mental
heart
and
problems.
physical. Yeah.
Yep. Not to mention the dependency. As you said, it's like you can't even really start your day. My thing, and I thought I had a thing like I had to have coffee in the morning, and I have found I literally just love coffee. Like, I mean, you guys saw me at the beginning of this. I was having a cup of coffee just because I was excited that I bought some fresh coffee. Like, I like coffee,
Yeah.
and I could switch to decaf. And I'm actually considering switching to decaf. It's just hard because it's like I also, because I take kratom in capsule form. I cannot take it with anything but pop.
Yep, me neither.
It's stuck in my throat and it just sits in my esophagus. I can't.
I
So
don't
it's
even
hard
do it
for me
with
to get away from
capsules.
caffeine.
But
Yeah.
it's the scratchiness of your throat and the soda kind of like makes that go away. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah. I and also kratom is basically like a sister or a brother. I don't know. they're related to coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. But I don't know. For me, I get headaches, irritability, um, and like when I say irritability, it's not like I scream and shout at everything in the world, but like I notice I have a little bit more of a shorter like where I get annoyed span. I don't know how to explain that. Um, yeah, but like yeah, so caffeine, cigarettes definitely. Cannabis is much safer than cigarettes. Alcohol, same thing. I mean, if those are schedule, okay, caffeine is descheduled. I'm guessing, right? Um, this is weird too. Like, okay, I get promethazine codeine is like hydrocodone light, but like it's a couple away. This one is weird up here. This is like not even in the U.S. Well, it was as a recreational drug, but not anymore. Yeah. PCP. Well, I guess this PCP does have a. Yeah. Anyway, that's drug schedules. um, and then there's also when it comes to Biden, um, there's also a what's it called? A documentary when they're talking about as far as race and cannabis, which is a really weird combination to have a documentary about. Um, what's the name of it? It says a new BET documentary being released on Wednesday. Not really? Kind of cool. It might Wednesday. Okay. So that was the 18th, so maybe this is already released. Um, I just wish that you gave me the name of said documentary. Oh, the documentary is Smoke, Marijuana plus Black America. By the way, that's a really weird combination. Is it out yet? Deep analysis of how cannabis has influenced pop culture through the lens of two very contradictory means, entertainment and the legal system. Al Harrington, two fields in his career. Is this out? Should we, like, stream this next week?
What?
This show?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's out. Came out yesterday.
Uh,
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
what's it called?
Smoke, Marijuana, and Black America. It's on BET. And it's on YouTube TV, so I wonder. I'm gonna definitely have to, like, that's definitely gonna get struck, but I can win it. Whatever. I don't give a shit. As long as they don't claim, that's fine. Like, strikes, no big deal. I don't give a shit about strikes. I win those in my sleep. I can win a strike, no problem. But a claim is like when you really can't do it, because if you get a claim, then you get a strike. Okay. Oh shit, that was loud.
Some shit.
Wait, how loud did that? That was really loud. I'm really sorry about that. All right. Boy, do I even want to like have the gain up on this one? If it's that loud, holy shit. 0. See, this is an example of well-produced audio. I mean, yes, it is a professionally recorded video rather than fucking some dude with an iPhone 3GS, but still. So this is basically what he said in the documentary, and kind of goes along with what we were saying. He basically goes on to say it's not enough to deschedule but at the same time, I think this is just a clip of it, but I'm guessing what he says later on is probably what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Oh shit! Why did it just? Gosh.
Yeah, I would bet that in 2020, that a potential Democratic nominee would be against the legalization of marijuana. I was hoping in a joking way, because I have a lot of respect for him, so I was trying to be kind and lead with levity, as they say, call out that this is a destructive reality that we live in, and that decriminalization is not enough.
That's also another weird thing that I gotta mention is clips of documentaries is weird when you clip it so close. Like, he just says not enough, and then it's right there. He doesn't even have a chance to like breathe before they clipped him, so it's like this is definitely out of context. But Cory Booker is a good dude. That's all I gotta say. Honestly,
I like him.
honestly, I was more like Cory Booker than Bernie, to be honest. he, I don't know. I don't remember exactly every single aspect of it, but I preferred him over Bernie because of cannabis stance, and then also just like the way that he explained and how he came to his stance. He really explained that in a very logical fashion, whereas Bernie is just like, we got people in the 1% or something like that. Where he, like, the way that he explained it was a little bit more well-rounded than just stating it something.
Mhm.
And then also like,
Yeah, Bernie's he's known for that, basically saying, we want health care. Well, how? Why?
although I do have to say, Yang, when he was making rounds, he did a really, really good interview. I'm trying to think, but I'm guessing it was Philly D on Philip DeFranco, where he went into a little bit more explanation of the what was the name of that thing? Income. It was like basically, what was this thing? This thing was like 100, or like you get $1,000 a month
Oh yeah, yeah.
average income.
Yeah, it was $1,000 a month. I do remember that.
Yeah, I just forgot the name of the program, but like the way that he explained to it, it makes sense. Um, but like Bernie also did a really good interview, and I think that was on Joe Rogan. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Uh, when he explained the whole aspect of drug prices, he had a very, very strong ground to stand on with how he was explaining how drug prices kind of get so fucked up. Which, by the way, if you want a really good explanation about the drug pricing issue, um, Patriot Act on Netflix did one where they explained kind of like those discount prescription cards that you can totally sign up for while in line at like CVS. Kind of how they work and why they exist, and why they have to exist when they really shouldn't, like, at all. But just basically the reason why our drug pricing is so bad. So yeah. I think that's all. That's all I got. So yeah, that's all we have. If you like this video, make sure to share it. Check us out on, well, hit the subscribe button and the like button. Now I'm telling you to hit the like button.
Cost you nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like the show, you want more, make sure to check out Canna-Talk with Wilson and 95.9 Radio Free Fargo every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. Or if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area, or if you're not in the Fargo-Moorhead area, sorry, you can listen on the YouTube channel, or right after the show about, I keep doing this the wrong way. All right. So you can check it out on any podcasting platform of your choice. So you got Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Those are the biggest ones. But it's up an hour after the show, and I've gotten it down to exactly an hour after the show. It will be up there. And it'll be on YouTube the following day, usually from 5 to 7:30, just depending on, yeah, as far as like how long it takes me to render out the video. But check him out. He's super cool. He goes through different stories than I do, which is the best part. So like you get the full coverage of most of the things in that matter, at least in cannabis news. So yeah, check him out. My name is Phil.
I'm Anthony.
And this has been Canna-heads. We'll see you guys next week at... There. Okay. See you guys next week at 7:30 p.m. All right. Shit. What the fuck? If you leave studio mode, it'll go back to your old fucking thing. Okay. Okay. Alright, bye-bye!